Coinbase, the biggest cryptocurrency corporation in the world, has been under criticism, and this has XRP Ripple owners scared. Someone with a lot of XRP might start a new case, and Coinbase could be their main target. On the other hand, XRP Ripple Coin's potential for a price increase of as much as, the state of Oregon has filed suit against Coinbase. Once again, the cryptocurrency exchange is facing further legal action from Oregon's Attorney General Dan Rayfield, who is asserting that the exchange marketed securities to Oregon residents without proper registration. We are entrusting $1.00 to 2,000 to whom? I don't know what to do. Let's move step by step. This film will astound you, not Ben. Residents and neglected to sufficiently vet high-risk assets to protect customers, even as the SEC took a more lenient approach to implementing crypto rules. There are a number of interesting facets to this case, but the Oregon complaint seems to pick up where the federal regulators left off, reviving old disagreements and fears in the business. The thing that's missing is, so the cryptocurrency at the center of one of the biggest court triumphs in cryptocurrency history, XRP, was not always a security when it was offered for sale on platforms, according to Judge Annalisa Torres' statement in July 2023. As a result, the SEC's case against Ripple was greatly diminished, and the cryptocurrency community was filled with optimism, anticipating that this verdict would signal a shift in the law that, while the outcome of the Oregon action involving Coinbase may influence future instances of its like, that landmark decision is completely absent from Paul Gruel's writings. The Coinbase chief legal officer made it clear that the case was just the SEC repeating its earlier moves, pointing to Section 9 of the complaint as an example of how Judge Torres, we left out the decision. When asked about the AG's efforts to bring back regulation by enforcement, a tactic that the SEC is dumping, Gruel wasted no time getting into it. He goes so far as to say that the case even implicates the exec chairman as a crypto lobbyist, even though there have been major court decisions that undermine their case. It seems like this is more than just an error, purposefully carried out. Already under intense criticism from Coinbase, the gains won in Ripple's case might be stealthily reversed if other lawmakers and regulators follow suit. This is due to the fact that the XRP case has gone unnoticed by the Oregon AG's office, thereby erasing one of the rare instances where a court has rejected the notion that all crypto assets are stocks. It might have to make tough choices to protect itself, like taking XRP off the platform again. This would hurt the XRP economy, which is trying to grow internationally, and taking it off one of the biggest U.S. markets would hurt its reputation right when it needs to build trust. After XRP was removed during the first case by Coinbase, it was just restored back. Legal wins appear to be meaningless if officials opt to disregard them, which would have upset everyone and be a symptom of a bigger problem if the SEC were to pull it again. It's almost comical that the state level is behaving as if the ruling never happened, following a long court struggle to define XRP's position. The rule of law is undermined if legal complaints may easily disregard court rulings. What kind of signal is this sending to other projects that are also trying to deal with a complex regulatory landscape? Coinbase is clearly interested in acquiring it, and while the business is confident that it is following all applicable laws and facts, as Gruel mentioned, the question still remains. There is good reason for XRP users to be worried and determined, regardless of the court's decision. Is it going to keep going after XRP or stop backing a cryptocurrency that regulators are hell-bent on seeing as dangerous? The fact that things take a strange turn here, the reason crypto professionals aren't, is all that has to be kept in mind and protected. But Ripple's triumph is still important. Is going crazy because despite all the cases and difficulties in the news, Many people think this storm is only the beginning of something far larger for XRP. An analysis by crypto expert Amix reads, and then there's Levi, whose words have gone untrue, suggesting that you are unprepared for XRP's future and that they perceive opportunity rather than danger. XRP has the potential to make you the first person in your circle to become a multimillionaire, which may make you go viral. It may sound ridiculous, but there's actually a rationale behind all the mayhem. Some view the recent success of XRP as a key component in the worldwide changes in the financial markets. As talk of interest rate reductions heats up and rates start to fall, assets like XRP will get a lot more attention, and a lot will change. Rate cuts are on the horizon, and XRP's value might skyrocket. XRP, with Pulse tweet pointing to what might be a major flood of cash into the cryptocurrency industry, we can see that historical analogies do give us optimism, even though they don't necessarily forecast the future. Who is also associated with the XRP group, brought up an important point in 2014 that has to be addressed. The value of one Bitcoin jumped from $2.00 in 2012 to $1.00 2000 in 2016. Why isn't XRP following suit? Is a thought-provoking inquiry that brings us to what might be the most daring assertion in history. One of the most well-known XRP users, Remy Relief, recently made waves for predicting that XRP may hit $120.00 before, and considering that XRP is still hovering around $2.00, the end of the year appears ridiculous at first sight. If they were to achieve that goal, the price would soar by a staggering 560%. However, there is more to Relief's case than meets the eye. It encompasses infrastructure on a worldwide scale as well. SWIFT, a worldwide financial messaging system that moves about $5.00, is something he talks about. If Ripple or its integration with central bank digital currency systems were to receive even a fraction of the $1.25 quadrillion yearly or trillion zero each day, it could have a substantial impact on the value of XRP. According to Relief, this is even possible even in the absence of tokenization platforms or ETF swaps. It causes me to ponder the potential outcomes should those financial instruments be employed. Let's define exchange-traded fund, ETF, for a second. One way to invest in the stock market is through an exchange-traded fund, ETF. It's a low-risk alternative to buying and keeping an asset that individual investors and big institutions can use. The fact that Bitcoin is backed by an ETF adds legitimacy to the cryptocurrency,